Hey, welcome back to Sketch Magazine Podcast. I'm here with Chris Dreier. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Hey, Bob, I'm doing well. How about you?
Good. Can you believe this is our 11th podcast already?
No, I can't. I was actually kind of surprised
I
when
was
you
too.
had mentioned it earlier. I was like, what?
Yeah, man. This time flies, buddy. Time flies.
Yes, yeah, it does.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a little bit of a break from the digital inks this week,
Thank you.
and we're going to discuss something that I'm in the middle of right now, which is crowdfunding.
Right.
As I mentioned, we've got Sketch Magazine 47 up at Indiegogo. I did something that's unusual, is I moved it from Kickstarter to Indiegogo, just for several different reasons. That I did a video and posted it out there on the Sketch Magazine channel. And we know if you have questions about that, you can put it down below. But we're going to discuss how to create a successful comic book crowdfunding project. So we both have done it.
Yes.
You just did one with your publisher also, right?
Yes, I did.
Yes. And it was successful.
It was. Yeah.
Yes.
It was really successful, actually. I was I'm very pleased all the time.
Yeah. But we've also have done these personally too.
Right.
I always say these things are like having babies for the allotted time that we're doing. It's just like every day something's going on. You never know if you're going to reach it. It's sort of crazy, but it's a constant every day. And during this is going to be a multi-part podcast. So actually, I was going to do this as a course, and I decided just throw it in here. And it's like 15 to 20 different levels. So Chris and I are going to break each one down, discuss it, add our own twist to what's happening, and hopefully be as formative as we can.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
and
first,
we do have an email. We do have an email address.
We do.
You can
we will put that up above.
Yes, we will.
Yes, Sketch Magazine at nostalgicnetwork.com. So, but first, I'm going to throw this out to our new sponsor. All right, so crowdfunding. Everybody thinks it's simple and easy, and all you do is throw your book on there, and boom,
thousands of people give you money, and you're making,
don't expect it. So,
no.
First thing that we want to bring up, and let me bring this slide up.
Yep, we got slides to help us.
We have
to go.
We have some slides. Is what are you offering?
Right.
So, what I mean by this is what is your project? Actually, Chris, we sort of changed to what we were going to say, because you brought this up, which is even more important than what you're offering, is how much of your book is completed before you launch your project.
Right.
So why is that important?
Well, when someone comes, I think there's two reasons for that. One, well, actually, there's three reasons now that we mention it, because you talked about how it's very stressful during that time that you're doing your Kickstarter or your Indiegogo, or there's even a few others now. The last thing you want to do when you're trying to promote your book, your Kickstarter, or your crowdfunding, when you want to promote it and you're on there every day and maybe you're answering questions, the last thing you want to do is also be working on it. Right. Second of all, what's also important is when a potential backer comes to your crowdfunding and they're reading how awesome it is, and then towards the middle they say, yeah, we've got 3 pages finished of this 96-page graphic novel. I'm like,
right.
And that might happen a lot too. So and then there's been a lot of stories of big crowdfunding projects that made 800 some thousand or whatever, and then the project's never delivered for like 3, 4, 5 years. You don't want that either, especially if you want to do another one, because maybe you're doing a series.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, I
Or,
think it's important just to have it done.
well, as I've brought up in the past, these are based on you. Even
Right.
though your project, like my project was Paradox Wars, um, there was still Robert's name attached to it. So if I went
Hmm.
off and I did Race Danger as a Kickstarter, it's still going to be Robert attached to it, whether I
Right.
complete it and fulfilled in time, or as I know, I've supported Fringe projects in the past, and it took them 5 years to complete it. They
Yeah.
were a little naive on some areas. They know it now. They
Right.
just didn't ask for enough, didn't cover enough. Some health issues popped up, so they ran into
Right.
trouble. But they didn't have the project started, or at least well on its way before they offered the Kickstarter to try to get some funding.
You
So
know,
the biggest thing I think is how much. I personally think if you can afford to put it together, you need pencils, inks, and if you're coloring colors before you offer your project.
yeah.
Bec-
The one I did, Tales of the Dark Tunnel, I did that in like 2020. That was my personal one. I do plan on another one at some point, but
Right, right,
um, I had it totally finished. It was a 40-page book, and I had it done front cover, back cover. I had the PDFs ready. The only thing I had to add was once the Kickstarter was done, a part of the reward was that every backer got their name in the book as a thank you. That's the
right,
only thing. And I had all that done with the space left to put the names in.
right.
And
But that's sort of hard to do when, I mean, you had your pencil, and then you handled all the other tasks.
yes, I did. I inked it,
Yeah,
colored it, lettered it, packaged it, designed it. Yeah, I did all that myself. Right.
right. So, and where I handled the production end of it, but I had coloring done and pencils, inks. Now my project had sit here for years waiting to be something done with it.
Hmm.
So it was already colored, so it was done over a span of time. But it was sitting here complete, lettered and everything. And then I did the Kickstarter. But I took the years that it took me to run it off the side, along with the day-to-day operations and everything else that I was doing.
Right.
Got it to a point that okay, now we can offer this.
Mhm.
Um, Most people aren't going to do that. They're just too excited. They want to get the word out,
Right.
and they want to jump in there, which it's totally up to you. But understand, if you're going to come back and tap the wheel again, come back for more
Hmm.
money for another project, one, you need to deliver on a timely matter. If you say a year, which is I believe is way too far out for a comic project, then
Oh,
deliver
right.
it
Yeah.
within that year.
Mhm.
Also, and we'll get into this later on different things, communication. Even though you said, hey, I'm going to give you a comic in a year, don't disappear for a year to the people who supported you.
Right. Yeah.
You
Because
know,
when you're on there, you
communication,
can you
update.
can do updates, and it goes out to all the backers. And right,
Right.
that's very important too.
Now,
Right.
I
And
know,
be reasonable with your delivery date. That's important.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Don't say I'll have it delivered in 30 days and it takes you 6 months. Say
Right.
6 months and deliver in 30 days if you can.
Yeah. Right.
There's
Yeah. I
nothing
mean,
wrong with coming out early.
right.
Nothing.
Yeah. Right. I mean, if someone's going to back it because the book sounds really cool and the art is just amazing, and you look at it and the delivery date is like within like 8 months.
Right.
I personally, I don't care, you know,
Right.
long as I'm going to get it in 8 months. Now, I do know
Right.
that one of the other slides you have was graphic
Mhm.
novel or comic book. Um,
Yes. I sure
that, like
did.
we talked about in one of our previous ones about like, do I do a comic? Do I do a graphic novel? That's
Right.
really, everything we've talked about so far pertains to that.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
It pertains to this is pretty well centered on publishing a comic book or a
Right.
graphic novel. A comic book could be up to 44 pages, somewhere in there, 48
Yeah.
pages, I guess.
Right.
That's a thick comic.
Yeah. That
Uh,
was mine. Mine was 40.
right. Yeah. I think you get into 40 plus pages, you're doing a mini graphic novel at
Right.
that
Yeah.
point. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, all of what we're pertaining about production wise and everything is around this. What are you going to offer? A comic book up to 40 pages, let's say. I
Hmm.
think mine was 32 pages because that's pretty much what a standard comic was back in the day.
Right.
So, a graphic novel, you're going to do a 48 pager like Prime Pluto. Lady
Yeah.
Death. You know, he does the mini graphic novels. I love them. I support everyone. Have for years. Or you're going to do 100-page graphic novel. Another thing is this new material or old material, which I hadn't even thought of until just now.
Oh yeah, right.
So, or is it older material collection wise that you're adding stuff? Because I published a Storm Quest graphic novel that was a collection of the 6 issues.
Right.
You know? And that was actually my first Kickstarter I ever did. And you know, it did okay. I still had a following at that point for the book.
Yeah, good.
It was close enough that people still remembered it. So, you know, it did okay.
But we had talked about you had said new material over old material, which made me think of one of our previous 10 podcasts that we did about, you know, between comic and graphic novel or comic strip.
Yes.
See, you can then, if you've been doing it online, and kind of doing, you know, for free or however, you know, whatever platform you picked, you could collect those and do this here. And which would be even better because, you know, your fans, they know it's finished.
Right, you know, right. And they're looking to get, at that point, they probably already read it, they follow it, they love the characters, but they're looking to get a collectible from you at that point.
Right, yeah.
They're wanting it on the shelf right back here, you know? That's what they're wanting. So, and that sort of moves into, well, we're a little early on the slides here, but we had actually talked about don't expect the crowdfunding community to support your first project. There, like you just said, if you're reprinting a strip, an online strip or stuff, you have a fan base. You have people following you. You have people either on your email list, which we're going to talk over and over and over and over the importance of an email list. That is your direct communication to them.
Right.
So it's very, very important to build an email list. But don't come in here thinking there's this huge amount of people who just want to buy comic books. It's not that way.
Right. Good example of that would be Tales of the Dark Tunnel. At the time I'm still publishing Freaks and Gods through a publisher, and Tales of the Dark Tunnel is a spinoff from that. But you never even need to read F and G if you read, you know, you don't need to do that. So, but at the time I had on Facebook, I have a fan page for Freaks and Gods, and I had about, I don't know, 800 or so people. Fan page. You know, I did not get 800 backers. So that's not how that works.
Right.
You know, I had a really large, for me, what I thought was a first time out. I had like 148 people, which to me was like, wow. We had talked about building a fan base, and you need that core 100. So, you know, that was amazing. That was, you know, again, I didn't expect anyone to back it. So when they did, I was like, wow, that's, you know. But yeah, you have to go to them and just, you know, so, and I know we're probably jumping ahead on other things, but not only do you have the book, you also got to think of your rewards, which is probably the hardest thing you have to think about when you're putting this together. Yeah,
it is. And I think rewards, that's like the second one down. We'll come back to it because that's a whole different beast. It is. There's so many different steps. So I think the next time, one is, should you even do one? I personally think you need to have your book almost completed, especially on your first one, second and third ones, because it's so busy running the Kickstarter that if you had to also work on your project, and if that's not your day job, if it's your side job and you have a day job or family, health issues, those are 3 things that go above you working on your project and then doing a Kickstarter that could delay everything.
Right.
So that's just another reason to get it as completed as possible before you Kickstart it, even if it takes you a year to complete it. And I'm going to hammer this down because I want you to be successful. I'll be honest. I want more successful Kickstarters. I want more of them out there. So if you can take the time and complete it as much as possible, pay on the side, pay for your inker on the side, get the inks done, pay for the coloring, get that done. Then then you kickstart it. One, you got tons of materials to show. You got artwork, completed artwork, just
Oh
remove your
yeah,
word coloring,
exactly.
So, and you got, anywhere from 30 days, or I guess you could run a Kickstarter in 15 days, but I would never run a new Kickstarter for 15 days. We'll come back to that also, how long, but anywhere from 30 days to
Yeah.
60 day. I'm doing a 60-day one. I want to see, I know there's dead periods throughout, but I'm going to hammer those dead periods with
Right.
special promotions and stuff and interview releases and see if we can get that jacked up. So
Right.
I think it's important to get it done.
Well, that's going to be sidebar. That's new for you.
Yeah, it's a 60-day campaign. I thought a 30-day was like murder.
That's new.
I mean, it was like, oh God, it's 30 days of boom, 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 boom. Now I got 60 days of boom, 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 boom. So yeah, so I'm going to take a deep breath this weekend and then dive hard Monday, real hard into it. But it's like on my campaigns, I know I brought over 60% of the supporters through my emails, my social media, and my advertising, where a lot of times you will see that Kickstarter or Indiegogo brings in the majority of the supporters just by being there. Don't expect that.
Right. By how they recommend on their page.
Yes.
Right. They bring that in by how they recommend it on the page, through emails, that kind of stuff.
Projects we love, just everything like that they do on the sides to help promote it. But don't expect them. I've never gotten a project we love recommended or anything like that from Kickstarter, and that's fine. So it's just that it's like, the way I feel like it is, it's an area that you can bring people to purchase your book that they feel safe as. It's almost like driving them to your comic shop now, and it's so hard getting your project into a comic shop, but you can say, hey, I'm over at Kickstarter, I'm over at Indiegogo, I'm over at one of the more popular crowdfunding areas. Come and support us, check us out, help spread the word. So I would like to see more projects, but I like to see more successful projects, completed projects out the door. Because honestly, projects that aren't successful, that the creator, takes the money and run scenario, only hurts this type of promotion, only hurts this way of trying to publish. So.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I read an article that someone shared on social media, and the person who shared it was just really kind of bashing Kickstarter. And it's like, well, it's not Kickstarter. It's that particular creator who never fulfilled or took 4 or 5 years to fulfill. So that person has a really bad idea of crowdfunding. But I mean,
yeah,
you're right.
And it's easy to just blame Kickstarter or
Crowdfunding.
Indiegogo for that. Yeah, so it's easy to blame them. So yeah, definitely get as much of it done. Expect to do a bulk of the work promoting your project. But I will say it's easier to sell your project on a crowdfunding site than it is to say, go to my store and buy. I have a store. I got hundreds of items on it. And if I get one sale a month, I'm doing good.
Right.
There is other artists who have done major projects, DC, Marvel, who are now self-publishing. And I read one the other day, and he was really frustrated because he has his own store. He creates all kinds of content for it, and he averages 1 to 2 sales a month. It's that hard to bring them into our arena. It's easier for me to sell my novels, Camelot Forever, on Amazon, even in print, than it is for people to come to my store and buy one, and I'll sign it, in my store.
Yeah, right.
But, they don't do it. So bringing them here is an ideal thing. Make sure the project is completed as possible. One last slide we skipped over.
All right.
And boom. what genre. I think this is something that's very
Oh,
important
yeah.
because you have to think about where's that fan base coming. You know, superheroes always around, they'll always be around, but they are sort of fading off a little bit, I'll be honest. There's so many other types of books out there that we didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I think westerns are coming back or love story comics are coming back, but what genre do you like? Do you like sci-fi, fantasy, um, science fiction? Just what is it? What do you like? And then that's sort of where you're going to develop your comic from. So that should already be picked, but that matters with your crowdfunding because people are coming in probably not looking for westerns. They're probably looking for the superhero, the sci-fi, the fantasy, the the D&D stuff. That's what they're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
So those genres matter on this type of platform.
I don't know if one genre does better on these crowdfunding sites than the other. Honestly, from just looking through social media, every day off and on, I see a lot of crowdfunding. I don't think I don't really think one is better than the other, but I mean, I would not say, oh, you've got a superhero sci-fi comic. No one wants those. Don't crowdfund it. Well, that's kind of mine, and it's been doing okay.
Yeah, it has.
I mean, mine's sci-fi, superhero-ish.
Yeah, and I would probably say if you're going to do a love story type comic, it probably wouldn't do well here. But Harlequin romances are still the most popular types novels, novelettes out there.
Right.
That short story like that. So it's like it may do well. The audience may be here. I know the audience back when I was really researching this is heavy on tech. So people like tech stuff and probably would like tech type comics and stuff and sci-fi and fantasy. Those were the areas that really Kickstarter and Indiegogo thrived on, those type of things. So, but I mean, it's used for everything. I wouldn't say not do it, just make sure, and we'll come back to what type of goals do you set? What type of goals will complete your project for you?
I was just thinking before you said that your genre should probably temper your expectations. If you are doing a Western, that's awesome. But
yeah.
I mean, there might be a huge audience out there, and I don't know anything about it. Who knows?
Maybe we need to do like a Roy Rogers type book. And
see, I'm not a fan of Westerns.
Me neither, but it's we can try it as a say, hey, this worked, or this fell on his face.
Who knows?
So, but I think it matters to research a genre. But if you're out there already building an email list, if you're out there trying to build that fan base on social medias and everywhere, then you pretty well know your genres, and you're going to have to know whether it will work here or not.
Right.
So I guess what I'm saying is, if you're going to come here with your end product, you're going to Kickstart it or Indiegogo it. Make sure it's something that's going to fit within this area, so you get the support that you need.
Right.
Hey, this is totally off subject.
Oh.
Can you believe that?
Yeah.
This morning driving in, you know how I go about hating to do shows anymore. Going to shows, just
I
think they're a waste of time. Well, I was on a show 2 weeks ago, Odd Musings. Good friends Brant and Scott run that show.
Yep, I watched it.
And thanks. And we got talking about building email lists. And Brant goes, well, I do the shows just to build my email list. And I'm thinking,
I remember that.
Really? Okay. So driving in this morning to the studio before we filmed, I got thinking is that if I did do shows again, I would probably do some mini comic books, little short outs, and they couldn't cost a whole lot to produce, and say, sign up for my email list and take a free mini comic.
That's a good idea.
Because people they don't mind giving the email address if they're getting something.
Right. Yeah.
So if I do shows, I was going to do one this fall, but I'm probably not going to now. My schedule has just blown up with everything.
Right.
So probably next spring, I'm going to do a couple of shows promoting the network, promoting some other projects. The new novel will be out either September or October, so we'll be out promoting it next spring. I might try that. I might make some different mini comics, some
Yeah.
of those smaller size comics that people can carry real easy,
Mm-hmm.
and say, hey, sign up for my email list and pick you a free comic.
That's a good idea.
So, and I'll put a value on those comics, like put $1 a piece on them. So they know they're giving away their email address to get a free $1 comic.
Ooh, that's even better. I
Yeah.
might
So
steal that idea.
free marketing. Everybody should steal it. Let me know
That's
how
a
it
good
goes before
idea.
I go out there.
And
Yeah.
spend the money on these comics and see if I can.
Right. Well,
Right.
I mean, one way is do shows to make money to complete your comics, so then you can take it to Kickstarter. So I
Right.
want, if you're out there doing shows anyway, you're doing prints, you're doing projects, why not build that email list so that you can have it ready to go when you're marketing.
That's a great idea.
So,
Because that's important. Trying to get people to part with their email address.
Well, yeah, I mean, we get so many spam stuff anymore. It's just,
Yeah.
sort of crazy. So,
I know.
but okay, so I'm going to briefly go over some stuff that, we've talked about. What are you offering? How much of your comic needs to be done? I'm going to hold off walking through the back end of Kickstarter. I got to see what is the legal parts of that I can actually do and share here.
Oh, right.
Kickstarter
Yeah.
may or may
Right.
not.
Mm-hmm.
But the next thing we will talk about will be your rewards, what to offer, what can you do,
Yep.
how to write your story, telling everybody what they need to know, the creators and everything, how to pull on them to
Right.
give you money.
The story pertaining to your outline on the crowd. Yeah, that's what it's called. It's called the story.
Yeah,
right?
the story.
Just in case someone was like, "Wait, when are you going to tell me how to write my story?"
All right. Yeah. No, not your comic story. Your
right.
Crowdfunding.
Because that's what it's called, right? Okay.
Yes. Images. How many images should you have? What kind of images? What's the best layout for images? These are future casts that we're going to do. Making your video. You have to make a video. Good, bad, funny, serious, whatever. Of course, the more art you have done, the easier it is to make your video. Because you got tons to share. I will share at this point a PDF of my 4-week. I have a 4-week schedule. Every day something is planned out to do. Either social media post, email newsletter, a giveaway, an interview. But I will post that on there, break it down where people could go download the PDF, and I will share that up on Google Docs. We'll talk about freebie items, bonus levels, giveaways, and then even at the end we'll talk about different printers you can go to and how to make it profitable.
Right.
So this will be a full series. I'm looking forward to it. It's stuff you and I've done, and it's time to share it. So really looking forward to it.
Maybe I'll get even more motivated to start that second issue of Tales and get that started.
Yeah,
that'd be nice.
Sounds good to me. It would be nice.
Yeah.
And let me say, I do have a current Indiegogo going, Sketch Magazine 47. It features Wayne Earps and Bo Smith. We have an extended interview in that issue, but we've also got articles from myself, Chris Dreier, Bill Nichols, Jen Bromwell. We're talking to Bart Sears about contributing. We've got some great artists and creators and stuff that will be featured in this issue. So please go to Indiegogo. The link will be down below, and give us a support and help us spread the word. That's the biggest thing you're going to find out doing these is getting other people to help you spread the word. It is so important. The shares and everything. It's just very important.
Even if you're like, that's not for me, you could really like help.
Yes.
Just by retweeting and sharing it. That's all you got to do.
Yes,
sometimes that's the best thing you can do. Right.
It really is. Yep. Let's see. Also down below is the channel link for Sketch Magazine. That's where all the extra videos for the Indiegogo will be. if you want to sort of follow those and follow the channel. It's you see what I'm doing for this Indiegogo. There's down there. There's a link to Chris's channel down there. Just let you know, Chris is ahead of me on subscribers. So
sorry.
That means there's a link for me down there also. I haven't produced a lot because I've been so busy with different things and putting it on different areas, but I will be. So, give us some love. We support, also without Nostalgic Network, we wouldn't be doing these.
That's right.
So, give us support, hit the bell, give them some love, or I should say us some love. And we'll be back next week to talk another. Creative crowdfunder. Yes.
Sounds good.
That's good. All right. See you later, Chris. Thanks, bud.
See you, everybody. Bye.